Kitchens, they're the heart of every home. You cook, you entertain, you create memories that last. But do you have any idea where to start when it comes to the design, functionality, or choosing the right materials for that dream kitchen? Do you even know what questions to ask to make sure that you're hiring the right professional? Well, I have the perfect guest for you today as I'm sitting down with Carlos of Snaidero of Hollywood, and we're going to be discussing all of that and so much more.
The home design and remodeling show. It's the one.
Before we start, please take a quick moment and just subscribe now so you can stay up to date on all of the latest design tips, trends, information, and inspiration right here in South Florida. So again, subscribe now to stay up to date. But I want to dive right into this because I'm really excited about talking to you. We've had some amazing conversations. You know, there's not many people to your skill level, and you know, you're truly an elite designer when it comes to the design for the kitchen industry. But let's start. Tell me a little bit about you and really what Studio Snairdero of Hollywood really represents.
I've been in the business for 31 years this year. So 31 years as a kitchen designer, specializing in South Florida, even though I've done kitchens all over the nation and a lot of the Caribbean. So I'm very, I've been in it for a long time, and I've seen the whole entire industry go from how we were designing in the late 80s and into the 90s and 2000 and now 20. I started with Snaidero in 2000, so 20 years ago. I was with the German companies before that. That's where I learned design. I design a little bit different than the American market. I design more in work zones instead of work triangles where you're running around in a triangle. I design differently, so a little cleaner, a little more, a little bit more cohesive with the cabinetry, meaning that everything that should be together is together, without chopping up the kitchen. So my design philosophy is a little bit different, and people, and I think aesthetically overall it looks a certain way and pleasing to the eye. So at the end of the day, we want everything to look nice and be able to function inside the kitchen, and get the job done, whatever we're doing. So it's important to get the two together. Yeah, so in 2012, I decided, had been in it for a very long time, and I decided that I needed to do something either for myself. Been working for the corporation for a very long time, and I thought at that point in time I wanted to do something for myself. So Mr. Snaidero, the owner, decided to say, we don't want you going anywhere, or doing something else. So he offered me, a deal I couldn't resist, and to own my own place. So I decided to do that in 2012, and I've been blessed. It's been a great experience. I've been always flying under the radar,
Right.
That's how I like it, because we're very boutique.
That's amazing. And the thing is, I mean, first of all, the amount of time that people have been with you says a lot about you and as a brand and as a business. So, when it comes to really any form of remodeling homes is nothing short of intimidating, overwhelming, making sure that you're working with the right team and the right professionals. But, what tips can you offer us for homeowners and even industry professionals who are looking to work with other industry professionals? But what should homeowners know in the sense of the questions that they should be asking, or really truly how to find that right professional to be working with them to be able to design their dream kitchen?
So there's a lot of them, but obviously,
Right.
but I can give you at least 5 that, everyone should have them in mind
Right.
when they're interviewing a kitchen designer or a company that, they want to work with. And mind you, when I say work with, I mean, you're going to enter into a relationship with a person or a company for 3 months. So it's a long-term, collaboration and relationship. So you want to make sure that when you're interviewing when you're going out there and interviewing these companies, you want to make sure and ask the right questions and make sure that they have your best interests in mind and not theirs. So I'll give you 5 tips. One is definitely, how many years has a company been in designing and installing kitchens, whether they're domestic or European kitchens? How long have they been in business? Because not because a new company wouldn't be a problem if they have experienced designers in-house, but because there's a lot of intricacies that go on with ordering one of these kitchens. So the more years you have, the more, and you're still around, you haven't been sued, you're
Right.
a good reputation. That's
Absolutely.
a lot. The second one is the most important, is the warranty. So at Snaidero, we offer 10 years. Nobody offers that on the door finish. So our door finish is 10 years, and we're lifetime on the hardware.
Okay.
So lifetime hardware on the hardware.
That's impressive.
Yeah. So you want to ask, what's the warranty? Is it a year? Some people don't offer any warranty. Some people offer a year. Some people offer up to 2 or 3 years. So that's important, because some of these finishes, they're being produced, whether it's a custom millwork shop or it's finish that's being produced in a reputable, big, company.
Right.
They have finishes attached to them, and you get a lot of discolorations and warping, and you have a lot of issues with it. So you want to know, not when they walk away and everything's great and everything
Right.
looks good, but so warranty is number 2. And I would say you want to make sure that that when you're working with them, that what is their responsibility from the beginning to the end.
Right.
So there's, like I said, a lot of intricate moving parts. So you want to make sure that, are they responsible for, setting the appliances, putting appliance panels on there? Are they going to deliver? They're going to unload. They're going to, install it, obviously, or not. Some people don't. That's a big mistake. Are they going to be there when the countertops are being put on? Are they involved in the countertops? Are they involved in the plumbing? So
Right.
every little piece of a construction of a home is involved in a kitchen design. So they might not be providing the materials like sinks and faucets and appliances and countertops, but it takes coordination. So,
Exactly.
and they go in at a different time, so there's a lot of, coordinating
Right.
between different providers. Some clients want you to do the whole entire thing. So that makes it easier because you're controlling everything. But at
Right.
the end of the day, you're either working with a contractor or a designer or an architect, and someone's involved and is responsible for the job. So a lot of the coordinating. So you want to know up front, what are they responsible for?
Right.
What are you hiring them for? And what exactly is their role from the beginning to the end? And then obviously you want to make sure that they're listening to your needs, like exactly, not designing something that's just pretty,
Right.
but they're actually listening to your needs and what you like in your kitchen today, what you don't like about your kitchen today, and the designer's role is to make sure that they give you what you want and not what they want to design. So listening and really providing exactly your wants and needs, that's what you look for. And finally, I would say definitely 100% have a mutual respect for each other's time. Experience, advice is expensive, so respect each other's time, and have that in mind. Hey, I don't want to waste your time. You don't want to waste my time, and
Right.
have kind of mutual understanding, because some people take advantage of the situation. So you want to make sure that you have that type, you think about that when you're getting involved into a kitchen design.
Absolutely. And the thing is, especially like when you talk about listening, like that couldn't be more important, because the thing is, it's like a lot of times homeowners, they don't truly know what they want. They know what they don't like. And by the designer having the experience to be able to show options, to be able to show variety and just different layouts, because at the end of the day, like homeowners are homeowners, like they might have a dream and they don't know what's reality and what's not. But you know, being able for the designer to put things in perspective and show options is so
Yeah.
important.
And I always say, as a designer, all I'm here is to make sure that you don't make, that the client doesn't make
Right.
any big mistakes. So everything is fine with me until I see something that I know doesn't work. I know we're going to have a problem with.
Right.
I know, regardless of the dreams. I mean, my dad was an engineer, so I have a lot of engineering background. So I know a lot of things that you can coop up, and have a great idea about something, or you've
Right.
seen it in, the famous Pinterest, and hey, look at this.
Exactly. And I'm sure you get that all day, like between Pinterest and Instagram and
That's like all the time. And you're
right.
like, yeah, that kind of works because they did this, but it's not going to work in your kitchen.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So it's a matter of like coming together, and for me as a designer, I just want to make sure that they don't make a mistake. And that could be anything. If it's about color or a material they're using, and I'm working with a designer, I'm not going to insult the designer, or I'm not going to insult the client with something that is not, that I know doesn't work, and
Right.
why. I'm going to educate the customer. I'm going to educate the designer, or we're going to work together. And I'll tell them on a different time, hey, listen, I know you're working with your client, but I've had this experience with this material. Just keep that in mind. You might want to look for another material. So it's a mutual respect.
And that, again, it all comes down to the experience. Like when you're going through the interview process of truly finding that right professional, because, there's so many different great designers out there. People have their expertise in different styles, but when looking at, what homeowners should be looking for, or really creating that functional design and luxury design that they're looking to be able to achieve, what do you see as, the best ways to achieve functionality, but also incorporating design, because those are two different elements, and bring them together, in the most cohesive way. What tips do you have in regards to that?
The way I design, and I've trained our staff to think that way, is we get a lot of plans and we get a lot of things that other people have done that have a lot of American design that you might see from a certified kitchen designer, or from different organizations that deal with kitchen design. Sometimes you'll see a lot of countertops all over the place, so where it breaks up the look. So there's because they feel that anytime you're holding something, you need a countertop, just in case you want to drop it, or you want to load up the countertop to fill up an area, refrigerator, pantry, whatever. So they tend to put countertops all over the place, and they seem to I don't want to say butcher, but they take a very nice design and they kind of box it out and
Right.
make
No, that makes sense. Absolutely.
and they fragment it.
Right.
I like to take things and bring them together and figure out better solutions
Right.
to tackle the same problems. So yeah, you might open up an oven and you take out the turkey or whatever you're cooking, and you might not have a countertop right beside you, but you have a countertop right behind you. So, and you can always, so there's things that a designer can do with their layout that doesn't upset the flow
Exactly.
of the overall look.
Yeah.
So I like to group things together. I like to have my tall units and all my talls together, and I like to spread out the each area as its own function.
Right.
So a prepping zone, a cleaning zone, a cooking zone. I like to work in zones.
Right.
And my design reflects that philosophy. So everybody's a little bit different, but What you want to make sure is that whatever you're using today, you didn't like it. Why you didn't like it? Why it doesn't work? You bring that to the designer, and the designer's job is to figure out, what has to change.
And that's a good point, because the thing is, like, people, you don't want to, it's not all just doing exactly what the client needs, because they're coming to you as a professional because you've seen it all. And, to be able to over deliver, but also, people have budgets, staying within the realm and being able to cater to everybody. Because, when looking at, kitchen design, and as you mentioned earlier, there could be over 200 parts that go into a single kitchen. Ordering right, designing correctly, catering to a budget, just because of, you're creating European cabinets, and people might think it's a more expensive product, which, a lot of times it is, but it doesn't mean that you can't work with those products. There's ways to work around budgets and be able to splurge in areas and others. But, coming to the topic of materials, because, there's a lot of different types of materials and finishes and things like that. But what should people truly know about, the product itself that's being installed? Whether it's the boxes themselves or the hardware. Tell us what homeowners and what professionals should know about the materials.
So materials is basically, at the end of the day, the most important thing is the design.
Yep.
And then the materials. The design, 100%, it's got to work. But the materials is where your money's at.
Right.
So where your money is on the door. The door is 65% of the cost of a box. So what materials you put on that door is really what determines the price.
Right.
The good thing about us is we have one product that we can do anything from a traditional kitchen to an ultra contemporary kitchen.
Right.
So as far as styles, we have like a big range of styles. What I mean by styles is that door, back to
Right.
that door. So that door, depending on the finish that you put on that door, is really what determines the price. When you're selecting materials, number one, we live in Florida, we live in Miami. So we want to make sure of these key things, whether you use a European, kitchen, or you use a custom millwork shop.
Right.
This is the main thing is, what materials are they using? Are they suitable for this climate?
Right.
What's the substrate? What are they using as the substrate of that door? In other words, what is the core of that door?
Yeah.
A lot of names, they always throw out the word particle board, and they throw out the word MDF. They have no idea that a sheet of MDF, multi-density fiber board, the board that we use.
A lot of people don't even know what MDF even represents.
So just because something is not solid wood,
Right.
they think it's lesser quality.
Right.
It's not. It's the opposite. A sheet of MDF, the MDF that we use, is 1,800 pounds per square inch.
Wow.
So it's very dense, and that sheet is 7 times the price of a plywood.
Wow.
So it's very expensive and it's very heavy. And the reason that they use that material is because they can paint it.
Yep.
It will never warp. It won't bow. It won't crack. It won't discolor. So it doesn't leak anything. So when you use wood or solid wood, wood is like a sponge. It's
Right.
like skin. It's constantly alive, whether it's been dead for 100 years. It's got still oils in it.
Right.
So when they primer and they use certain materials to seal it, they'll tend to, over time, they'll tend to either warp, or in this hot climate, they definitely warp,
Right.
Or they'll yellow, or they'll discolor. So MDF is very, very important for our industry and our 10-year warranty, and the ability to be able to sell it all over the world, whether it's in Canada with
Right.
no humidity, or Miami 100%, or France, or wherever.
Right.
It's the same product, and it's being able to sell it all over. So
That's incredible.
So when picking something else, you want to make sure that the finishes have certifications. In
Okay.
other words, they don't have any formaldehyde leakage.
That's a
And
great point, actually.
this is
Something
a very big topic.
right,
We could spend hours on it, but the bottom line is you're bringing in materials into your home that was sprayed, you know, with hazardous chemicals, take time to dry, or they're being sprayed on woods that they shouldn't be.
right,
And you're bringing these materials into your home and they leak formaldehyde, or they
right.
leak, which is a carcinogen. So you don't want to breathe that.
100%. And that's the thing, because it doesn't matter what people are buying. I mean, it could be, you know, regular furniture, it could be cabinetry, flooring, countertops, whatever it is. I mean, you have to really do your homework, because there's so much that goes into it, and you can't just take things for granted just because it's a product. You know, just like, you know, compare it to food. You know, people ingest things, you know, they're eating things all day. They're not necessarily the best for you, but there's different qualities of everything. So apply that to what you're putting in your home as well when it comes to remodeling.
Very important, especially cabinets.
Yep.
That, you know, the inside, you ever opened up a cabinet and you're like, wow, and you get hit with this odor of it's formaldehyde. At the end of the day, it's formaldehyde. It smells, you know, like ammonia. It smells a lot like ammonia. That's coming from the cabinets.
Okay.
So you want to be very careful for that, especially the very, 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 when I mean very, I mean the very low end, very inexpensive, you know, wood products.
Right.
Are very, very hazardous. So we were excited because this year was the year that we were going to show materials that had never been used. And for your audience, imagine you're a woodworker and you're starting, and they bring a bunch of materials to you that has nothing to do with wood.
Right.
Like, well, how do I put this on a wood? You know, how do I use this in my carpentry? And they said, we have something cool. And they show you an aluminum substrate that has a honeycomb in the inside.
Okay.
And so to keep it nice and straight. And then they tell you, how about if I show you this and you can apply any finish you want on it,
That's incredible.
regardless of how thin it is, and so it was very exciting. So we had already been launching for the last 2 years these materials, but we were going to show it in a different light.
Right.
There, and we got, you know, and so for your audience, if you really want to see, like, you know, the really cool innovative technology going into kitchens these days,
Right.
I have a few samples that I can
I'd
show
love
you.
to see it. I mean, because I mean, there's so many new products out there, but the fact that you have it here locally as well.
Yeah, so this is porcelain. So this door is porcelain.
That's
The back,
incredible.
so it's an aluminum substrate. So it's an aluminum door.
So what's the actual depth or what the width of the porcelain itself?
It's 1/8 of an inch.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, so now you have a material that's never been seen before, like in a kitchen,
Right.
for like porcelain floors or now countertops and things like that, but never on a door.
Right. Exactly.
So where you're making furniture pieces, side panels, you know, end panels and all that out of porcelain. So this is by far the techiest product that has been introduced into the kitchen industry. Behind me is flamed eucalyptus,
Okay.
one of the most prestigious woods available today. And that is a wood that if it was solid, very thin, it has to be planked, but if it was solid, it would work.
Right.
Not on this door. So again, we can take, like, you know, hand painted aluminum, you know, that another new. So this is aluminum.
Wow.
It's hand finished.
That's
And-
incredible. And
Yeah.
it could be any cut. Is there a variation of colors and everything?
Yeah, right now we have 2 available. They're going to launch,
Right.
you know, due to the, you know, how popular it is,
Right.
they'll launch more. You know, reclaimed woods are cool. So we're doing a lot of, see the cracks?
That's amazing.
Yeah, so this is like, you know, 50, 60-year-old wood, been reclaimed, dried, and refinished for cabinets. So along with that, so that's all like and we got glass, stainless steel with a lacquer finish so it doesn't show fingerprints. Now we're doing this, which is, so when I told you we have like the styles for everybody, we also have, I've done, an 18 or $12,000 kitchen, and I've done $1 million kitchen. So
Right.
we have a budget for everybody. It's not just the highest end. And the beauty of this is we're able to mix that with a little bit more expensive products
Yeah.
and get a nice balance, not a $1 million kitchen, but you
Right.
get a really nice kitchen that's going to outlast us all.
Absolutely.
And a budget that anybody can.
And that brings me to my next question, because, when looking to design a kitchen, I mean, everyone has a budget, large or small, but, when it comes to designing and building the kitchen, where is the greatest value? Where are the areas to splurge, and where are the other areas to be more price conscious, to kind of get that perfect mix?
That's a great question. Every client is different, and every client has what's important to them.
Right.
Some people are big cooks and they want to entertain in their kitchen. And obviously I would tell them to spend the most amount of money on their appliances.
Right.
Nothing to do with the kitchen. The kitchen's got to work, look nice and all that. But if you're a big cook, let's get you the best appliances, and show you some new tricks,
Right.
with steam convection ovens and, sous vide, drawer, vacuum bag drawers. And there's so many new, things that appliance wise that wasn't in the kitchen, 15 years ago.
Absolutely.
So I would say that if you are not a big cook, but you cook and you entertain and you want it to look amazing, obviously you're going to spend money on the finish.
Right.
You want like, the boutique finish. The areas to splurge on is definitely your appliance garage.
Okay. Yep.
Number one. So nobody wants this in these nice kitchens, and especially today, everybody's hiding things. You don't want to see a bunch of small appliances all over the place.
Right.
You don't want to see those timbre units that are back from the 80s.
Right.
You don't want to, there's a lot of stuff you don't want to see anymore.
Right.
You don't want to see a 42-inch countertop height, anymore in a kitchen.
Right.
You don't want to see those appliance garages. So how you hide those appliances, they're expensive units.
Right.
That's an area where you want to spend money on.
That's a great point. Yeah.
The other area is everything today is about the islands.
Yeah.
So you have to have a fantastic island, because that's where the action happens. That's everybody congregates around the island.
Yeah.
So islands, really cool, innovative technologies are going into islands, like phone chargers.
Okay. Yep.
On the countertops, cooktops that are completely hidden.
I've seen a lot of like concealed things that I don't know the right terminology for it, but as far as that they'll rise from the countertop itself, like outlets and things like that.
And there's a lot of cool stuff. I'm designing but at the end of the day, like we want to be at the cutting edge.
Right.
I told you, we're the boutique. We want to fine tune, and it could be a laminate kitchen. It could be a porcelain kitchen. It doesn't matter. The money is in the relationship, the product, the warranty, that you want to feel comfortable that, you're giving your money to somebody.
Right.
At the end of the day, they're going to deliver exactly what they told you that they're going to deliver, and in the time frame that they told you that they're going to deliver.
Yeah, because when it comes to kitchens, in addition to, as far as it's not a small project, it's probably one of the larger investments when it comes to home improvement and design. But I have to ask you one question. So you have years of experience of all the projects that you've done. Like what's one project that truly stands out as far as, the type of application or the type of product or technology? I mean, you already named one right there, but when you talk about $1 million kitchen, or really any value of any kitchen, like what was that? What's the one kitchen that might truly stand out in your head that was just that you impressed yourself with?
I was involved. It's one of two of the super expensive kitchen that I've done in my career. And this was imagine designing a Chanel from scratch.
Right.
So I took a Snaidero and we designed it from scratch. And it's in Fisher Island. And it was basically a prototype door that we had seen years ago at the show. We designed it. To give you an example, it was wood on the outside and leather on the inside.
Oh,
so
wow.
you open the cabinets, the backside is leather. All the inside in, lacquered with glass that lights up. It had the only wood fired pizza oven UL approved
Wow.
that you could put inside the house.
That's incredible.
And it came from Italy, and it was like, that was a whole nightmare.
Right.
Custom hood, just about 18 feet long by ridiculous. It was crazy. It's crazy. It was crazy. Just the magnitude of the kitchen and
Right.
how custom it was. And they didn't want one part to come from the United States.
Wow.
They wanted everything 100% from Snaidero, from Italy. So I think that and to be able to pull that off, that's not everybody can do that. That's not that's not an easy task. So we were able to, I'm proud that it's still there today. We've actually expanded on it.
Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. That's one of two of like ridiculous things I've done.
Right.
I've done a lot of, I use light panels.
Right.
10 years ago, I have a light panel in the showroom that has been on for 8 years, 8 years, 24/7, never turned off.
Wow.
And it's from China.
Yeah.
The light panel, because
Right.
back then the only light panels you could get was from China.
Right.
Now the Americans make them and they're 10 times better. But
Right.
so I like to say we were pioneers in a lot of stuff that's being used today in these high-end kitchens and even, middle to low-end kitchens.
Right.
That we got to work, know.
Exactly.
A success. I've had my ups and downs.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We've had things, because that's, you're only as good as your last mistake,
Right. Right.
So I've had things that didn't work, and I say we'll never do that again. But I'm happy to say, in 31 years, I've been blessed. Thank God we've never been sued.
Right.
And we're working with, all types of clients.
Absolutely.
All types of expectations.
In construction, things can go wrong. But
Absolutely.
really what it always comes down to is what the contractor does to make it right, to make sure that it finishes and that it's exactly what the client was expecting. Because, the construction world, it's impossible for everything to be perfect. But, it comes down to working with a professional, someone that's seen it, somebody that has a name behind them, that they're able to adapt and adjust and ultimately deliver what the client wants. So, that's a very important point, because if someone tells you that they've never had a problem, that means they just started.
Adam, so you're saying that there's no perfect walls in Miami?
Right, exactly. You look at a corner of a wall and it might be a little bit wavy. I mean, it's incredible, but
it's rewarding when you're able to. On my team, I'm the weakest link.
Right.
So imagine if I'm the weakest link, everybody has to be better than me.
Right.
If everybody's better than I am, we're good.
Yeah.
we got no problems. So for me, I take great pride in my team. I take great pride in the work we do. I'm so, blessed and happy that, we're able to, and there's times where, I've eaten it just because I want to make sure that the client is happy.
Exactly.
Because this business is high-end kitchen business that started in the 70s, you know, it was all started by word of mouth. There was no
Right.
social media. There was no magazines back then, you know, that were promoting. It was because of word of mouth. Germans were
Yeah.
coming over. They were doing these kitchens that had never been seen in the U.S. before, with these ultra glossy finishes with zero orange peel. They were
Right.
perfect like glass, and no one had seen that type of technology before. And it was a word of mouth. You
Yep.
know, we'd have parties, people would come over and say, "Where did you get this kitchen?" Like,
Exactly.
"I want one." And
Right.
you know, it was a word of mouth. So at the end of the day, this is all about word of mouth.
Right.
So
100%.
yeah, that,
I couldn't agree more. And the thing is, like, when you were talking about your team, you know, to me, that's one of the greatest factors when it comes to someone that's a good leader, because a good leader is able to pull the best talents from every single teammate and team member to be able to maximize the production of the greater good of the entire business or the team or whatever that falls into. So I applaud you on that, and the fact that, you know, how great of a team leader you are, because also the amount of years that you've had people working with you and alongside you, you know, that's impressive. And you know, it says a lot about you and your brand and your achievements. But we've spoken about a lot today, is there anything that we haven't covered that you feel that, you know, homeowners in the consumer market really should know about, you know, kitchen design or anything?
just don't be afraid.
Yeah,
Don't be afraid to ask. There's no dumb, you know, there's no dumb question. The whole,
exactly. Right.
there's no dumb question. Um, it's only dumb when you didn't ask the question. And you're
You're
like,
right. Yeah. Yeah.
you find out, you know, you should have asked that.
Yeah.
So there's no dumb question. Don't be afraid. It's scary to get into a renovation and
Yep.
to get into, you know, and for some people, they have multiple renovations and they've
Yep.
had bad experiences. Bad experiences come from, you know, a multitude of issues,
Right.
but when you have the right people, it's so, I'm telling you, you know, I've ripped out kitchens, brand new kitchens
Right.
that they paid twice. They paid for the
Wow.
original kitchen, and then it went so bad that they had to rip it out. And now I'm coming in, and so I'm coming into somebody that's been already wounded, you
Yeah.
know.
Exactly.
So,
Right.
so there's no bad questions asked, and just make sure that they have that they can deliver, because you know, good salespeople are salespeople.
Right.
They're gonna promise the world, but can they actually deliver? Can they show you proof? Can, you know, what, a lot of things that we talked about today, but don't be afraid of it.
Right.
It's because you had a bad experience or because you think it's too complicated.
Right.
It really isn't if you got the right people.
Right. I couldn't agree more. And, you know, as far as when it comes to, you know, ask questions, educate yourself, do your homework, because ultimately it is an interview. Look at it as an interview, because you're allowing somebody into your house. You're allowing somebody, you know, to ultimately create, you know, the kitchen. Like I said before, you know, you create memories in your home, but in your kitchen, so much happens there. And, you know, you're entertaining, you're creating memories. I mean, that's where some of the greatest things in a home happen. So, you know, as far as just for everybody, if they want to get a consultation and reach out to you, what's the best way for someone to contact you guys?
They can call. They can call us. I'm sure you'll post information.
Yep,
Uh,
absolutely.
uh,
Yeah.
they can call us. They can
I
come
know that
visit.
the website's snaiderohollywood.com, correct?
Yes,
Yep.
and
Perfect.
just did it during the whole pandemic. We redid it, so it's a fresh
Amazing.
website. There's a video on the website. I encourage everybody to watch it.
Okay.
There's a short version and there's a long version. I I um I I ask that you all watch the long version, and you'll see the proper what we do every day,
Right.
what it should look like.
Exactly.
It doesn't reveal everything. It's just a snapshot, but you'll get an idea of what you should come to expect from a kitchen company. Watch the video. It's very cool. It's only like 4 minutes.
Okay.
The short one is like 2 minutes, but watch it. It's very, we took our time to make sure that we showed an actual job
Right.
from beginning to end. So you want to see it. And it's, you can come in, call in for an appointment, get it. We do our initial consulting, and quote is free of charge. So you just have to, you know, make the time, schedule the time to come in, We don't charge for that. And then, and at least so you can get an idea. Don't be afraid to ask. You never know. I have a lot of clients that said, well, I never thought I could afford a Snaidero kitchen.
Right.
You can. It just depends on a lot of things. So don't be afraid to ask. And we have a budget for everybody. Take advantage of the years of experience and the quality product. At the end of the day, when you look at the quality products, everybody makes quality products. It's a lot more than just the product. It's
Exactly.
it's the people. So that's my advice.
Without a doubt. And I can't thank you enough for all of the time that you gave us today. Everybody, remember, do your homework. Don't just be sold, be educated. Make sure that you're finding the right professional, ask your questions. But, Carlos, I want to thank you for all the time that you gave us. Everybody, make sure you check them out. Again, their website is snaiderohollywood.com. Everybody, you can always tune in for At Home with the Home Show every Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. On the Home Show's Facebook page. You can check us out at FL Home Shows. Our website is homeshows.net. And again, Carlos, thank you again. And, as far as the Home Designer Remodeling Show, we're South Florida's largest and most trusted community of professionals and experts. And our job is to make sure that we're educating you and providing the best information and products so that way you're a more informed consumer. So thank you, Carlos, again.
Thanks, Adam, man. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Stay safe. And whatever you need, you have a friend at Snaidero.
I appreciate that. And you always have a friend with us as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Be well.
The